Dear Minister Masic, dear Mr. Ambassador Hellbach, dear colleagues and friends, it is a pleasure to open our conference at this historical place together with you all. Let me show you the disaster of the last 130 years in a nutshell, because we are commemorating 100 years beginning of First World War, but as you know, the story started long before. In fact, it started in the 17th century. The first Prussian officer to fall in the war of 1870 on the Spicherer Höhen, Spicherer Heights near Saarbrücken, the hills, was Bruno de François, and he was a Huguenot whose family fled from France to Prussia in the 7th century. The first Prussian soldier to fall in 1914 in Delle, as a city near Belfort in France, even before the declaration of war, was Albert Meyer, also a Huguenot. So far. When I was a child, the First World War was not ancient history. After all, I had grandparents and relatives who had witnessed the horror. The Second World War and its unspeakable crimes was much closer in the 50s and 60s of last century for me. In my family, these occurrences were spoken about openly, however, by telling anecdotes. Here are 3 examples. My father saved himself from the dictatorship by serving in the soldiers' theater at the front and organizing music events for the soldiers outside of Leningrad. My grandfather, in 1918, during the so-called Bavarian Revolution, stood with weapon in the hand on the side of the socialists who occupied the editorial headquarters of the Münchner Neueste Nachrichten, the forerunner of today's Süddeutsche Zeitung. And later on, he defended the famous English Garden in Munich for the so-called Munich Soviet Republic, alone, with 3 rounds of ammunition and no food. After 3 days without seeing any obvious enemy, he walked 100 kilometers back home. As a consequence, the Munich Republic collapsed. And then there was the loot my great-grandfather brought home from the war 1870-71, a bust of Voltaire made from cast iron, which was extremely modern back then. It was taken from a castle in France, and we children played with it. Are these stories funny? Of course not. They are in fact a horror. In face of the horror, they are absurd. But it is these little stories that accompany so-called normal life if one wants to step away from the horror. The absurdity of this entire context is obvious, but from absurdity comes no sense. Furthermore, it means to close our eyes to the suffering in the world. It was the student movement of the 60s in Germany and in France and in Europe that first broke through the crust of silence and anecdotal embellishment and made it possible to process the horrible past. We do not want to resign ourselves to the events of the last 130 years. Only through building awareness and the process of conciliation will Europe be able to avoid future wars. The founders of the European Union concluded from their own experience of the war bombings, expulsions and mass murder that the Europeans needed to work together in the future to avoid the repetition of such horrors. But since past wrongs cannot be undone, a great effort for mutual understanding is necessary, which must be renewed in each generation. The starting point should be personal encounters between people, because meeting someone in person overcomes collective prejudices. Our conference is such an encounter, and it must be highly valued since the German Foreign Office has agreed to fund it, and because you, Mr. Ambassador, have come to the opening and spoke to us. To conclude, I would like to refer you to a celebrated German poet who always makes the absurd topical because he doesn't want to resign to the absurd. Bertolt Brecht, and you find it in your program. For this reason, this evening, in the context of the Grundtvig ceremony, you will hear 4 songs by Bertolt Brecht that deal with war and criminality. Let us prepare for the future. Let us build the future. Thank you very much.